Hello, please subscribe to the channel before you begin watching. Thank you. Lisa was born into an ordinary family. Her parents were simple people. Her mother worked as an accountant and her father worked at a factory. Lisa had a good childhood. She went to health camps in the summer and spent the rest of her time studying. "I want you to enroll me in an art school," Lisa said to her mother when she was in the 3rd grade. "But you have dancing." Her mother worried that Lisa wouldn't be able to keep up with everything. "It's all good," Lisa reassured her. Okay, so from the following year, the girl started attending an art school. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, she had dance classes, and on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, she attended drawing lessons. The girls from her class went to a painting club, and Lisa wanted to join them. Her mother was amazed at how much enthusiasm her daughter had. She didn't mind all of this as long as Lisa was able to keep up with everything. In the 5th grade, Lisa and her friends also took a home economics class, without dropping any other clubs. "Did you do your homework?" her mother would ask in the evening when Lisa was getting ready for dance class. Of course, Lisa managed to keep up with everything, and still had a little time left to go for a walk. "Aren't you tired?" her parents asked when Lisa was home in the evening. "No," she replied. "Look what Galina taught us today," pulling out an unfinished cushion made of satin ribbons from her bag. "How beautiful," her mother marveled. "My art teacher submitted my work for a competition," Lisa said. "I heard you'll soon be performing in another city," her mother said about her dance class. "Yes," Lisa nodded. "Great, show them what you've got." Her mother clenched her fists. Lisa tried hard, and she succeeded at many things. She was a well-rounded person, and she enjoyed many things. She didn't miss any opportunity to learn something new. "Maybe I'll take out a loan and start my own business," her father said one day. "Igor, where did you get such an idea?" His wife was surprised. "I don't know, but I'm tired of working for someone else," he said, and began to carry out his plan. First, he needed to find a place, and he did. He bought a small space in a market that sold small nooks. "I didn't know you had an entrepreneurial streak," his wife said to him. "I didn't either, but you see, something started to work." He brought home a small income every day. At first, Igor didn't spend a penny. He invested everything in his business and paid off his loans. But after a year, something began to work out, and he could afford to buy his wife a winter coat and his daughter real leather boots. It was nice that his business idea didn't fail. "It's already been 4 years," Igor told his wife. "And what?" She looked at him, not understanding what he wanted. "We need to open something on a larger scale," he sat thinking. "Oh, you decide for yourself. I won't interfere with your business." The woman didn't understand it. "I'm informing you, because if I rent a building now, most of the money will go there." "Understood. We'll manage somehow," she reassured him. With his wife's approval, Igor began to strive for what he wanted. In just 2 months, a good location was found, which was in a busy area. Yes, it cost a decent amount of money per month, but it was worth it. "You're never at home, even if we decide to go somewhere. Lisa and I are always alone," Igor's wife said to him in the evening. "Be patient. Everything will be okay soon," he kissed her. "Okay," she hugged him, and they turned off the light in the bedroom. Lisa was proud of her father for achieving such results without anyone's help. She often ran into his shop. She liked being there. "Can you stay here?" her father asked. "Of course, where are you going?" She was interested. "I'll be back. I'll buy us something to eat." He opened the door. Everything was going forward and upward, which couldn't help but make them happy. The family changed their apartment, sold their small one, and bought a spacious 3-room one. The wife and daughter were buying new clothes, and Igor spared nothing for them. After some time, Igor realized that it was difficult for him alone and decided to hire a salesperson. Now, a young man named Pasha sat behind the counter. Earlier, Igor constantly asked or hired someone to go get the goods. Now he realized that he had to save up for a car. "What are you saving for now?" His wife saw how he counted the money and set aside a third of it. "I want to buy a car," he admitted to her. "Wow, but who will drive it? You don't even have a driver's license." She once asked him to get one and buy a car. "It's not a big deal. Pasha has one," he said, confident that the salesperson wouldn't let him down. A year later, Igor became the owner of a vehicle. The car was not new, but it didn't matter. The main thing is its own. "Pasha, I want to offer you the position of a driver as well," the boss told him. "Sure, any whim for your money," he laughed. "And will you take me with you?" Lisa asked when Igor and Pasha were planning their first trip. "Wait, honey, we'll go ourselves first, see how the new driver handles the job, and then we'll take you." Pasha was an excellent driver. Not only did he get behind the wheel, but he also took care of the car. If it broke down, he would tell Igor, who would provide money for the parts. The car was kept in a garage where Pasha had the keys and could take it at any time. "So, are we going tomorrow?" Igor asked his driver. "Yes," Pasha agreed. There was only one inconvenience. They had to close the store that day. It was upsetting, but there was no other option. A couple of years passed, and Igor was able to buy the building he used to rent. Everything was going great now. "I'll come today," Lisa said. She liked the store even more now. She was 16, and Pasha was 5 or 6 years older than her. They talked and told each other different stories. "Igor, listen," the seller turned to him one day. "Yes," the boss turned to him. "I have a good friend who can become a driver. You'll pay him for each ride, and that's it, and you won't have to close the store," he offered. "Great, bring your friend," the man agreed. Now he had 2 people working for him. "Sergey," a guy came to them one day. "Are you the good friend?" Igor shook his hand. Probably, the young man understood. He and Pasha were classmates once, and now they were helping each other. Lisa started coming to the store more often. She liked the new guy. She understood that she was too young for him, but she couldn't help it. By that time, she had already finished her art classes, still went to dance class, but other circles were left in the past. "How are you?" Sergey asked her and gave her candy or some other treat every time. "Great," she laughed. "Where are you planning to study?" the young man asked her. "I haven't decided yet. Probably in economics," the girl shrugged. "I see, I have exams coming up soon too," he told her. "And who will drive then?" She thought about her father. We decided to go ahead of time. It was clear that Sergey also enjoyed talking to the girl. The end of the 11th grade was approaching, and she needed to buy a dress for the graduation ceremony. And of course, Lisa was thinking about exams, which she was very afraid of. She prepared and knew almost everything, but still worried. "Why are you so afraid?" her mother asked her. "You know, I'm not afraid because I don't know, but because I might get nervous and forget everything right away," she opened up to her mother. "I'll give you some valerian," her mother reassured her. Okay, her daughter agreed with her. And so the nerve-wracking day came. Today was the first exam. What a surprise it was for Lisa when she came out of school and met Sergey in the courtyard. "What are you doing here?" She looked around. Maybe they came with their father, but no one was nearby. "I came to meet you and support you." He bumped his elbow into her, and together they went to the store to tell Pasha that she passed her first exam. "Can I come to your graduation later?" Sergey asked her. Of course, she smiled. She was flattered that a young man was paying attention to her. "Lisa, I need to talk to you." Her mother called her to the kitchen at home. "What?" She came there. "Listen, who did you walk home from school with today?" the woman asked. "With Sergey?" She didn't hide anything. People are saying they saw you with some man. The mother sat on a stool. And what? Are you forbidding me from talking to them? The girl didn't understand. With whom? With them. The mother was shocked. With Pasha and Sergey, the daughter explained. Why? You could go to the store as much as you want, but why walk down the street holding hands? The woman was upset that someone could think something about her daughter. Okay, I heard you. Lisa was offended. She was already mature enough to decide who she wanted to walk with. The girl passed all the exams successfully, which made her happy. Sergey supported her throughout this time. They constantly discussed something, and he gave advice while Lisa considered them. When is graduation? He asked her. In a week, she was already prepared for this holiday. She thought that she would have to leave this city soon, and it was a little sad that she would stop communicating with young people. I will definitely come, he promised her. You know, my mother forbade me to walk with you on the street, she admitted to him. With whom? With us, with me and Pasha. He laughed. Yeah, there's nothing funny about it. She was offended. I'm sorry, but what does she think we can do? He laughed again. I don't know, but the fact is that she told me this. And Lisa knew that if she would be stubborn and continue to walk with young people, it would only make things worse. Okay, but can we talk in the store? The guy asked. Yes, she nodded. Great. They approached the girl's house, and her mother came out of the entrance. Hello, Sergey greeted her. Hi, the woman replied and beckoned her daughter over. She turned to the guy and signaled that she was going to scold her daughter now. But surprisingly, the mother didn't say anything at all. They went to the store to buy shoes for the girl. They spent a lot of time there, and Lisa just couldn't decide. Finally, her mom pointed out a pair of shoes that the girl immediately fell in love with. Thank you. She looked at her mom. Anything for you. Her mom kissed her. After that, they walked around the shops for a bit, looked at other dresses, shoes, and more, and then went back home. Where were you for so long? Igor asked them. By this time, he was already home. Nowhere, just strolling, his wife answered. Okay, let's go eat. I'm hungry. He got up from the couch and headed to the kitchen, and the girl and the woman followed him. Everything was fine in the family. Graduation was supposed to take place in a few days, and Lisa was a little nervous, but it was a different kind of excitement now. On the day of the celebration, the graduate looked beautiful, standing on the porch, waiting for her friends to arrive. And they appeared from around the corner, which pleased her. Both were in formal pants and shirts. They approached, greeted her, and everyone was ready to go into the hall for the formal part. You look gorgeous, Sergey whispered to the girl. Thank you. She blushed a little. He had never said anything like that to her before. Everything went smoothly. There was a small banquet and a disco outside. Throughout this time, Sergey and Pasha were with the girl. Where are you going now? They asked her when the bus arrived, and everyone began to board it. If you want, I won't go anywhere. She looked at them. No, it's up to you. If you want to go, go. No one objected. You know, I'd rather stay with you. The girl felt good in their company. Let's go to the store, open it up, and had a little celebration. Pasha suggested. Great idea, Lisa said. And what about Igor? Will he say anything? Sergey was worried. No, I'll explain everything to him later, the girl promised. They all headed to where Pasha and Sergey worked. It was fun. They told each other different stories as usual and laughed. Guys, thank you for always being there and supporting me, the girl said. It's thanks to you. It's pleasant and fun to communicate with you. They had a good company. After that, the holidays began. The girl had 2 weeks off, and she went to take the entrance exams, and then she was completely free. Why college? Sergey asked her. I don't know, I just wanted to. The girl herself didn't understand why she chose this option. Okay, never mind. Will you come with us tomorrow? The young man asked. Of course, these trips always interested Lisa. She sat in the front seat, and all the way they argued with Sergei about something. Why do you argue all the time? The girl's father asked. No, we're not arguing. We're just defending our points of view, the driver spoke up for the girl. Okay. Igor wasn't interested. They went to the wholesale warehouse and split up. The man went where he needed to and spent several hours there. Meanwhile, Sergei and Lisa walked along the rows, picking out things that the girl liked. Look, the guy showed the girl a bottle of perfume. Oh, it smells so good. She opened the cap. I think it's like watermelons or melons, he sniffed. Maybe I'll buy them for myself, the girl said. Can I buy them for you? The young man asked her shyly. Is that a gift? She laughed. You can think of it that way. He paid and handed her the box. After that, they returned to the car, waited for Igor, and drove back. Lisa knew that she liked Sergei, but she didn't say anything. The three of them spent practically the whole summer together. They went somewhere, sat around talking late into the night. In August, the girl began to prepare for the fact that she would soon have to leave. Come more often, said Sergei to her a week before her departure. But aren't you going with me? She was surprised because just a month ago, they had agreed that Pasha and Sergei would go with her to the dormitory and help her with her things. I can't, the boy admitted. What happened? The girl didn't understand. I also need to go to the institute. The teacher said we should come a little earlier than September 1st, he told her. Well, of course, I'll come every weekend. She hugged him. When it was time to leave, her father agreed to sit in the store, and Pasha drove the girl. Her mother also planned to go, but couldn't get off work. I'll call, Lisa said, and they left. On the way, Pasha talked a lot. He joked, laughed, and wasn't himself, not like he usually behaves. You're on fire today, the girl told him. No, I think it's all as usual, he told her. I don't know, she smiled. They'd arrived at the dormitory, and the young man helped her with her things. He sat on a chair and watched as Lisa unpacked everything. Maybe some tea, he asked her. Of course, right now, it was the least she could do for him. She put the kettle on. When it boiled, she poured hot water into the cups and threw in a tea bag. Then she rummaged through her bag. She knew her mother had given her cookies. When she found it, Pasha and Lisa drank tea and laughed again. Okay, I have to go. The boy stood up. Bye, I'll be back soon. They hugged. Classes had begun, and by the weekend, Lisa had already missed her friends so much that she couldn't wait to go to the station and take the train. But she didn't have to do that when she came back to the dormitory after class and saw her father's car, with Pasha behind the wheel. Hey, what are you doing here? She approached him. I came for you. The young man didn't hide it. What did my dad say? She was still surprised. Everything's fine. He gave a thumbs up. Wait, I'll go get my things and we'll go, she quickly said and ran to her room. Afterwards, she got into the car and they set off. At first, they were silent on the road, and Lisa didn't know what to say. So, how's school? Pasha was somewhat quiet today. It's normal. Oh, by the way, did Sergei come? She was curious. No, he still has 3 weeks of classes left. Pasha looked ahead. I see, Lisa said somewhat sadly. Do you miss me? He turned to her for a moment. No, everything's good. The girl fell silent again. Pasha drove her home and helped with her bags. Shall we go somewhere in the evening? He asked her. I don't know. She was hesitant. I'll come back at 7. He drove off to park the car. Her mother was delighted to see her daughter and had a million questions about how she was doing, who she was living with, how school was, and the college itself. What's up? Lisa laughed at her. Well, what if I'm interested in everything? The woman replied, looking at her. Okay, listen. And the girl began to tell her what was happening to her in the dormitory and beyond. Then there was a knock on the door. That's probably Pasha. Lisa went to open the door. Her mother was certainly surprised that these guys were bothering her daughter, as she was so much younger than them. But she didn't say anything out loud. Hello, Pasha. The woman went out into the hallway. And I'm here for Lisa. He looked at the girl. Come in. I'll treat you to some pie. His mother invited him to the table. Thank you. The young man did not refuse. They sat for a while, talked, and then the young people left the house. The guy invited the girl to the cinema, and they went there. They had a good evening, spent some time in the park after the movie, and then Pasha escorted Lisa home. The next day, Lisa spent with her parents. It was nice to be together with them after some separation. In the morning on Sunday, they had to leave, but Pasha came again and told her not to rush. He would take her in the evening. He's become more active, Lisa told her mother. I don't know, you know better, she shrugged. But it was nice not to run with the bags to the train station, but just bring them down to the driveway in the evening. The young man worked the day off, and after that, he came to pick up the girl. Ready? He took her bags. Yes, let's go. She turned to her mother, kissed her, said goodbye to her father, and they drove off. Lisa, can I ever come and visit you? Pasha asked on the way. Why not? She wondered at the question. Well, then sometime on Wednesday, he promised. Okay. The guy's behavior was a little tense. He did arrive on Wednesday. They had left the car outside the dormitory and were now walking around the evening city. It's so beautiful here. The young man looked around. Yes, she agreed with him. Tell me, who do you like better, me or Sergey? He suddenly asked her when they sat down on the bench. What kind of questions? She turned to him. I just wanted to know. He pretended not to care. After the walk, her friend walked her home. She entered the building, waved to him, and went to her room. Why are you so sad? Didn't your friend come to see you? Her roommate asked her. Tell me, if you have two friends and they both like you, and you only have one, what should you do? Lisa turned to her. I don't even know. The roommate began to wonder. Lisa told her story. And that's what I do now. It's like he's choking me with his attention, she admitted. We have to wait for Sergey and the three of you to talk, advised her friend. I think so too, the girl agreed. On Friday, Pasha did not come for her because she called her father and told him not to let the salesman go. Lisa calmly took the train and spent the weekend at home. When Pasha came over, her mother lied to him that her daughter had gone to her grandmother's house. Thank you, her daughter thanked her. You're welcome, she answered. Lisa wanted to wait for Sergey, who was supposed to come next weekend. Then they would all get together again and talk. Except that she did not know how this conversation would go. She thought no one would be able to confess anything. The week flew by quickly, and now, Lisa was sitting in the train again. She drove up to the train station and already saw that Sergey was meeting her. Hi, they'd hugged. And where is Pasha? I don't know. I called him and he didn't pick up. He must have been out somewhere, her boyfriend answered. I missed you so much, admitted Lisa. Me too. He hugged her again. He said that he had made arrangements with her father for them to hang out at the store tonight. They didn't want to go to some public place and have someone in their way. When they were already there, the guy pulled a box out of his pocket. What is it? She stared at it with her eyes wide open. Look, he said cryptically. Are you asking me to marry you? She took the gift in her hands. It's too early for that, he said jokingly. Lisa opened the lid. There were earrings on the pad. How symbolic, Sergey gave her earrings. She took them out and immediately tried them on. Very nice, the guy appreciated. At that moment, the door opened, and Pasha came in. Hi, why did not you call me? He said something offended. But you came. shook his hand Sergey. What are we doing? The young man went on. Nothing yet. They were waiting for you. Lisa saw that something happened between the guys. She tried to defuse the situation, but she was not very good at it. They stayed up all night, and then the guys walked her home. On Sunday, Lisa went to school, Sergey saw her off, and Pasha was at work. Bye, see you in a week. The young man hugged her and whispered in her ear. Yeah, she kissed him on the cheek. So, did you talk? Asked in the dormitory roommate. No, I don't understand what's going on, she admitted honestly. At night, before she fell asleep, Lisa thought about her friends, whether sympathy for her would destroy their long friendship. The week passed quickly. Lisa didn't wait for anything or anyone. She boarded the train again and went to her town. There was no one at the station. Strange. She stepped out on the platform and looked around. Her friends really weren't here. She came home. Hi, honey. Her mother hugged her on the doorstep. Do you know what happened? Why Pasha and Sergey didn't come to meet me? Lisa immediately asked. No. Dad said that Sergey quit his job this week, she told her daughter. How did he quit? She was surprised. I don't know. He didn't say anything. He just warned her. They went into the kitchen. I wonder why it happened that way. The girl did not fully understand. Enough about them. Tell me about yourself. Mom was tired of her daughter thinking only about guys all the time. She went out with them, talked about them, and spent very little time with them. Okay, tomorrow I'll go to see Pasha. Lisa agreed with her. They sat down at the table. The girl had a little snack, and then she and her mother started making dumplings together. Lisa rolled out the dumplings, and the woman made the dumplings. They talked about many topics during this activity. My father came home. Hi. His daughter came up to him. She could not help asking what happened to Sergey. Hello. He kissed her on the cheek. I really don't know anything. Okay. Lisa sighed, and she returned to the kitchen, where her mother had already cleared the table. The dumplings boiled. They ate as a family. Then the mother stayed behind to wash the dishes, and the father and daughter went to their rooms. In the morning, the girl rushed to the store to find out everything from Paul. She hoped that he, as a friend, knew something. Hello. She walked into him. Lisa, how glad I am. He got out, bent under the counter, and took out a bouquet of flowers. What is it? She did not understand. It's for you. He walked over and put his arm around her. Thank you, of course. And where is Sergey? What happened? It was the main question she wanted to ask today. Honestly, I do not know. The young man averted his eyes. Okay. It was sad that they had spent so much time talking, and he had just disappeared, without any explanation. Shall we go out tonight? Pasha asked. Probably not. She turned around and walked out of the store. Why? The boy looked behind her. Bye. She didn't say anything to him. Lisa went home, feeling badly that she could not find out anything about Sergey. At home, she went straight to her room, lay down on her bed, and began to think about the young man. Why did he leave without saying anything, without even saying goodbye? So she lay there all day. Mom, I will probably leave now and won't come back next weekend, she told the woman. Why? What happened? She did not understand her daughter. I don't know. I have a lot to think about, the girl told her honestly. Okay, be good. Her mother kissed her goodbye. Lisa left. Paul visited her a couple of times, but she did not go out to see him. She didn't know how he reacted to that, but she didn't care. Then when she came home, she didn't go out anymore, and in May her father brought home a wedding invitation. It was from Sergey. What? I can't believe it. Lisa looked at the cardboard card. Why? Did not understand the man. How could he? She wanted to cry. Are you coming? Igor came up to her. Yes, she was still reading the lines that said that Sergey and Marina were inviting her to their wedding. Then we need to buy a beautiful dress. Her father spared nothing for his daughter. They went to the store. While the girl chose a dress, she was a little distracted from sad thoughts. But still, what had happened? Why had he left then? Because she had never said anything bad to him. Lisa remembered that innocent kiss at the train station. She felt sad again. "Hello. Come in." Sergei came up to them when they came to their celebration. "Hello, Sergei." She looked at him. "Your seats are over there." He did not respond to her greeting. "Thank you." Igor thanked the young man. After that, Pasha and his girlfriend entered the hall, and they also went to that table. Everyone was having fun, dancing. It was very interesting. And only when Lisa looked up at the groom, she saw how sad they were. No one knew why he was sad. He was the only one. When the newlyweds approached the table where Lisa and her father were sitting, he did not look at her. And of course, she couldn't take him aside, for he was the main culprit of this celebration. "I'm going home," Lisa said, and she got up and headed for the exit. No one stopped her. The girl left for her studies. She tried to forget what had happened to her when she was in school. One day, a girl and her friends went for a walk. She didn't want to go home, so the girls decided that they were going to stay here for the summer and try to find a part-time job. They could stay in the dormitory, and for the remaining 2 months, they could rent one apartment for everyone. They were sitting at a table in a summer cafe, and a young man came up to them. "How are you doing?" They laughed. It was fun and carefree. "Fine. Can we join you?" The young people pointed to vacant seats. "Sure," the girls said. They had a lot of fun that night, and when they later rented an apartment, they started going out almost daily. "Lisa, let's live separately," Oleg suggested her. "No, this apartment is only for the summer," she answered him. "How much longer do you have to study?" was wondering him. "A year." She did not want to hide anything from him. "And I have the same." He liked her when they first met. "Good, we can do something together." She saw that everyone was going somewhere. "Shall we go?" She called out to Oleg and all of them together. "I'd like to be alone with you." He held her hand. "There'll be plenty of time for that," she told him. "Okay." And they all walked together outside. The young people were dating. Lisa had fallen in love with the young man. She felt it when they didn't see each other for a week and then spent the whole weekend together. "I feel so good with you," the young man whispered to her. "And me with you." So 6 months passed, during which time they learned a lot about each other. When spring came, there was no time for meetings at all. Both Lisa and Oleg were writing their diplomas, getting ready to pass their exams and defend their thesis project. "Where shall we go after school?" he asked her on the rare occasions they met. "I don't know. I'd like to go back to the city," she shrugged. "Well, will you take me with you?" he asked. "Sure." They kissed. "All right, it's time to part and go home. When we'll defend ourselves, then everything will be fine." He pulled her to him once more, and they went their separate ways. Everything was passed, the diploma was defended, she could get her diploma and go to get a job. Now Lisa no longer thought of Sergei, she forgot, and it was easy for her. At the graduation, Oleg asked, "I think we have enough time for the festive part," was her opinion. Yes, the boy agreed with her. They studied at different schools, so they had to separate again for a while. But by evening, the couple was together again. "That's it. Tomorrow we'll be home," said Lisa. "And where will we live?" Oleg asked. "Let's see. Rented accommodation is not very expensive." The girl was confident that they will all work out. Tonight was the last night. They each slept in their own dormitory, and tomorrow the girl's family was waiting for them. "You can stay at my place for the first few nights," Lisa told the boy in the train. "If no one minds, and I do not interfere, then I agree." He smiled and hugged her. "Of course, no one will interfere." She looked at her lover and smiled. They came to the city where the girl was born and lived. The head of the organization where she was interning called and invited her to work. It was nice, and it was good to know that she didn't have to look for anything. Oleg walked around, looking for himself, but never found anything because the salary didn't suit him. "And what are you going to do?" Elizaveta asked him. "The guy's called to work on the watch," he told her. "And what?" She waited, realizing that she would have to wait and be bored again. "I said yes. There's a good job there, and the pay is decent," he told her. After that, the young people started looking for a place to rent, no matter how much their father persuaded them to stay with them. Oleg and Lisa were adamant. They wanted to be alone. "Okay, just don't forget to come and visit," Igor told them. Finally, accommodation was found. Just as Lisa had said, the rent was not that big. Oleg could easily pay it all from his salary. Once they moved in, the young man packed a bag after a couple of days and went to work. "I love you," the girl told him. "And I love you." They kissed in the hallway, and he walked out the door. Lisa decided not to spend the night here tonight because a lot was still to be acquired, so she went to her parents. "Hi." The girl entered the apartment. "Come in here," shouted her mother from the kitchen. She was busy with something that she could not even come out to her daughter. When the girl came into the kitchen, she saw that the woman was making cold cuts. "Oh, it's going to be delicious today," Lisa told her. "Sit down, tell me about it." Her mother liked to listen to her. "And what is there to tell? Oleg left, and I am bored alone. Tomorrow I will go to the job interview," said the girl. "Wear a long skirt, white blouse, take jewelry out of your ears," instructed her woman. Okay, Lisa knew that her mother can't do without it. They put the cold cuts in the fridge, and they went into the room. There, they just sat on the couch, watching TV. "Where is father?" Lisa asked. "I do not know. In the store, probably." Mom shrugged her shoulders. "How is Pasha?" Lisa began to wonder. "Come on, he hasn't worked for a long time. There's another salesman there now," said Mom. "Wow, how much has changed." She shook her head. "Well, let's go." They went back to the kitchen again. The jelly was almost ready. They had to prepare something else for the head of the family. When everyone had eaten, Lisa went to her room. She wondered what awaited her tomorrow at the meeting with the manager, who had invited her there. In the morning, the girl went home. She took a shower, got her clothes ready, and was on her way to her new place in the afternoon. In the manager's office, the conversation was brief. Galina Nikolaevna told the girl what would be part of her duties. But the most important thing was the size of the salary. "If you are satisfied with everything, you can go tomorrow," said the woman. Of course, Lisa didn't care. She just had to catch on. The girl filed all her paperwork with the secretary and went home to get her first job tomorrow. While it had been summer, she had managed to enroll by correspondence at the institute. Now she was working and studying. On the first day, Lisa did not leave the office anywhere. Even when everyone went to drink tea, she didn't want to. Hi. The next day in the morning, a worker from another department came into their office. "Hello." Lisa turned around in her chair and was silent. In front of her stood Marina, Sergei's wife. "Lisa, hi, when did you get here?" As she was surprised at the old acquaintance. "Yesterday." The girl was still in shock. "I see, and I've been here a year." Marina came up to her desk. "Okay, let's communicate." Lisa didn't want to talk to her anymore. In the evening, she went home, thinking that the earth was round after all. And 2 weeks later, there was a corporate party at work. By this time, Oleg had returned from his shift. Lisa was so happy about it, she hugged him. "It seems to me that we have not seen each other for months." She kissed her beloved. "And I love you." He also missed you. "We have a corporate party at work. Will you go?" She asked him. "Probably not. I want to rest," he told her. "Then I'll go for a while. It's a new team. I need to blend in," she said. Okay, was not against the young man. Lisa put on a cocktail dress, thought it would look really good in it, sent an air kiss to Oleg, and left the apartment. She walked into the organization. Some people there were setting up tables. When everyone was seated, Lisa saw Sergey come out of the office where Marina worked. "Hello." He looked at her. "Hello." Her heart beat faster. She realized that she still had not forgotten him. He sat down across from her, wooing the girl throughout the evening. When everyone had loosened up a bit, he began to ask how she was doing and what was going on in her life. "You know, I'm fine. I live with a young man." She lowered her eyes after these words. "I congratulate you." It was obvious that Sergey was attracted to her. "How are you?" She looked at him. "I graduated from the institute. Now I work as a lawyer," he began to tell. Marina all the time was busy talking to colleagues, and since Lisa here is not much contact with anyone, she spent all the time talking to Sergey. "Why did you quit your job then?" and did not say anything. She asked him a question that had tormented her for a long time. "Look, it's been so long. Why bring it up?" He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, which had come loose. The girl was taken aback by the movement. "Okay, you don't want to talk," she agreed with him. After all, they do have their own lives. What difference does it make what was in the past? The girl sat for a while longer and began to get ready to go home. "Are you leaving already?" Sergey asked her. "Yes, my young man just arrived today. I do not want him to be home alone." She did not hide anything. "I see. Well, see you later. I think we will meet more often now." Sergey got up to escort her to the exit. "It was nice to meet you and talk to you." She looked at him at the door. "Me too." He opened them to her. She was walking down the street, and she thought to herself that all things are for the best. But now her thoughts of Sergey were only of an old friend. She had a lover she hadn't seen for so long, and to think of another was somehow unfair. She went into the apartment. It was dark, asleep, the girl thought. She tiptoed into the bathroom, washed her face, changed her clothes, and went into the bedroom, lying down next to Oleg. He felt it, put his arms around Lisa. "I love you," she whispered. "And I love you," the young man said through sleep. The next day was a day off, which the young people spent together. And 2 weeks later, Oleg had to leave again. "Why is it that when you're away, the days are very long, and when you're at home, they flew by as one day?" the girl asked him. "Liska, will you marry me?" he answered inappropriately. "I agree, and it makes no difference that there was no ring or anything else. Then I'll come back and we'll plan the wedding." And he left. Lisa went to work every day. She was communicating well with the whole staff. Everything was going great. Oleg and Lisa called every day. They could not live without each other. As the young man had promised, when he arrived, they went to the registry office and submitted the application. "That's it. Just a little longer, and you'll be officially mine," the guy hugged her. "I only dream about it." She kissed him on the nose. The invitations were signed, and one of the first Lisa brought Marina. "Congratulations." She looked at the beautiful picture. "Thank you, will you come?" It was important for the girl to know that. "Of course," smiled her colleague. Preparations for the wedding were in full swing. Lisa was very excited about this moment. With her parents, they went to a neighboring city, bought a beautiful wedding dress. The restaurant was booked, friends were invited. The only thing left to do was to wait for Oleg, and then the celebration would definitely take place. "You will be the most beautiful bride," Lisa's mother kept repeating to her. It was all right. The girl was happy that she was marrying the man she loved. On the wedding day, she was at her mother's in the morning, went to get her hair done, came home, put on her fancy dress. The table was set, just waiting for the groom to go through all the redemption terms and come home. "I love you." Lisa could hear Oleg shouting different phrases in the entryway. She was pleased that the young man did not treat all the traditions with indifference. "Beloved." He came into the room, gave her a bouquet, and kissed her. Then Lisa's parents instructed them, and her mother presented them with an icon. The guests had a little snack, and everyone went down to the courtyard, got in their cars, and drove to the registry office. "Do you agree?" Stood in the registry office in front of the registrar. Lisa felt a little dizzy, and it was all from happiness. And then, the rings, the kiss, the first dance. It was nice to know that she was with a strong, reliable, and most importantly, the most dear, beloved man. "You're the best," the girl whispered to him as they danced. "I love you." He held her close to him. After that, they went to the restaurant. All the guests were there too. It was a lot of fun. The hostess who hosted the event rocked the party from the bottom of her heart. Before, when Lisa had been to other weddings, she had always been jealous of the bride and groom, thinking that they were in charge of the party. But today, when she was in that role, she realized there was nothing good about it. They were constantly being lifted up, wanting something from them, screaming bitterly. They were called to the center of the hall to congratulate her. Her legs were so tired that by 11 o'clock at night, she wanted nothing more than to go home. "Mom, we'll probably go home." Lisa approached her. "All right, dear. Go ahead and rest," she agreed with her. All the gifts had already been taken away, and now Oleg and Lisa got into the car and drove. "I am the happiest woman in the world," said the girl tiredly when they arrived home. "Well, that's it. You're mine now." Oleg helped her undo her dress. Today, they did not feel like doing anything, not even talking. They just lay down and fell asleep. It had been a very hard day. After the wedding, the usual life began. Oleg and Lisa almost never fought because they had to break up often. For 2 weeks, Oleg was at home, and for 2 weeks he was away. So, bored, Lisa welcomed him with open arms. "Elizabeth, and how do you live like this? Husband and wife should always be together." My mother came to her home. "Mom, what are you talking about? Can you imagine? He is gone for 2 weeks. I miss him so much that when he comes, it seems to me that I love Oleg even more," she told her. "I do not know. Before we did not have, if we lived together. And what is it? The husband is there, you are here," still did not understand the woman. But life was such that you had to earn money somewhere, and Oleg was good at it. They had been married for 3 years when her high school friend came to visit Lisa. It was an unexpected meeting. Both were very happy. "So, how are you doing here?" Inga asked her. "Yes, we live, work, do our best," Lisa answered her. She never complained about her job. She liked it all. If only they paid her a little more. Oleg still worked where he started. Now Lisa and Inga met almost every day. They could not get enough of talking about what was before and what was happening now. "Oh, you know, our conditions in the north are very difficult, but I really like living there," Inga told her. "Yes, what you say about the salaries, I think it's just a fairy tale." Lisa looked at her. "Come and visit." Inga invited her. "Well, it is necessary to wait for vacation," said Lizaveta. "When do you have one?" Inga had already made up her mind that her friend would also come to visit her. "I do not know, probably in September." Lisa counted in her mind when she got a job and when she went on vacation for the last time. "Come in September, there is still not much snow and not very cold," smiled her friend. "How is it that there is not much snow in September?" Lisa was surprised. "Well, what you expect. It's winter for 9 months, the rest of the time it's summer anyway," she tried to explain her friend. Wow. Lisa could not even imagine such a thing. When Oleg arrived, the first thing Lisa did was to call her friend. "Come over today, let's sit down," she told her. "I take it that Oleg has arrived," guessed the girl. "Yes, I'll introduce you." Lisa wanted to do it Lisa. Inga came in the evening, and now she was telling Oleg that you can work at a regular job, not do any hard work, and earn so much that he could not even think of such sums. "Okay, we'll think about that option." Oleg turned to Inga. The evening went very well. Her friend had a few days left before the end of her vacation, and when she was leaving, she took a promise from Lisa that she would definitely come to visit her, at least just to watch. "And what? Will you go?" Oleg looked at his wife. "Look, why not? Sometimes you need to change something in life," she told him. "I do not know. We already have a good place here. You have a good job, a decent team, and a salary. Not to say that very small compared to others. I'm doing well too. Why do I have to go somewhere?" He didn't understand. "And I want to try something new." Lisa did not hide it from him. "Okay, in September you'll go on vacation and see what it's like there. And then we'll decide whether or not to go there." We agreed. Until September, there were a couple of months in which Lisa is very carefully thought about what to take with them. Because what if I had to stay? In September, she actually took a vacation, bought a ticket. Now she was sitting at the airport, thinking about the first time she was going to fly on an airplane. They only spent 2 hours on the flight. When Lisa came out with her suitcases on the street, she was already welcomed there. Inga had made arrangements with a young man she knew, and he came to pick up her friend. But that was not all. Now she had to drive a few more hours to the place where Inga lived. It took a very long time to get there, and it wasn't until midnight that Lisa arrived. "Well, you got in, my friend," she said to Inga. "Well, yes, it is what it is, but this road kills when you are going somewhere." She hugged her. They sat down at the table, drank tea, talked a little bit, and sent off to bed because Lisa was very tired from the road. It was the weekend in the morning, so no one had anywhere to go. The girlfriends went outside to see what it was like. It was a small town. Not to say that it was somehow beautiful or anything. One thing that surprised Lisa was that the houses here were not tall, and there were no trees at all. Every evening, she and Inga would sit and talk about work, about enterprises, about how one should work here and what the conditions were like. "So, have you decided to stay?" her friend asked her. "You know, now that I really know what the salaries here are, I'll probably think about your option. But if you let me stay at your place for the first time," Lisa asked her. "Of course, I have to consult with my husband, but I think he won't mind." She was sure of that. That same day, Elizabeth decided to call her boss to find out from her if it was possible to quit without coming back to her city. "Galina Nikolaevna, hello, tell me, can I quit my job remotely?" she asked her. "Lisa, what happened? You're on vacation." She did not understand her. "I came to visit my friend in the north, and I realized that I can stay here," she explained to her. "Of course you can quit, but think about it. Won't you regret it?" asked her boss. "I think not," Lisa answered her, and in a couple of days, Galina Nikolaevna called with the good news that the girl was fired remotely. Now all that was left was to find a job and wait here for Oleg, but it wasn't that easy. "So, did you call anywhere?" Inga asked her friend when she came home from work. "You can't imagine. I called all the organizations, asking about seniority, experience, who I came here to, how I found out about this place," Lisa told her. "It's okay. I believe it a little more, and you're sure to find something worthy," encouraged her friend. And indeed, not even 2 months later, Lisa got a job. She rented a room in a dormitory. Now she was waiting for Oleg. "Darling, well, when are you coming already?" she said to him on the phone. "I'll work one more shift, and then I'll come for sure." It seemed from his voice that he was not burning with a desire to go there. "All right, I'll wait for you," she agreed with him. She kept working. It was hard, but she did not say anything to anyone. Since she had made that decision herself, she had to endure everything. And so finally, at the end of winter, Oleg was here. When he knocked on the door, Lisa did not even believe that it could be her husband. "How I missed you." She threw herself at his neck. Now it was possible to buy some furniture, collect something, bring it, because before that Lisa alone could not do anything. Her husband quickly found a job. There was no problem with that. We need to think about renting an apartment, Oleg told her. Yes, of course. Let's at least make some money so that we have some sort of safety cushion, Lisa told him. The dormitory was fine, but the toilets and showers were shared, and the young man did not like that. Also, Oleg wanted a baby. He never talked to his wife about it, but he kept hinting. Darling, well, wait, now everything will be fine. We will start to work steadily. We will rent an apartment, and maybe buy it, Lisa told him. She herself did not understand why the pregnancy was not happening, but now she did not rush into it. It had been a year since they had lived here, or rather Lisa. She wanted to go on vacation, but by this point Oleg hadn't earned it yet, so she had to put everything on hold and wait for her husband to wait until that deadline. I'm going to Inga's, Lisa said in the evening, and left the house. And what are you doing there with your Inga? She'd come home and hear her husband grumbling. What are you like now? You are always walking around grumbling to yourself. The girl did not understand him. They had found a good option to rent an apartment, and now the family was preparing to move in. All over the room there were bags and bags and bags. And where did so much junk come from? Oleg walked between them. Lisa did not understand what happened to her husband. She used to know him as a cheerful guy who was companionable, but now all he did was grumble. She remembered her mother saying that a husband and wife should live together and get to know each other from the get-go. And now Lisa realized that because of her husband's shift work, they had not had time to get to know each other properly over the years. The couple moved into an apartment. After one room in a dormitory, this small one-room apartment seemed like heaven. Look, the room is separate. The kitchen is separate. Lisa walked around there. As a hostess, it pleased her. She quickly put all the things in their places. Now there was only a small cosmetic repair. The hostess had warned them about it. Finally, it was time to go on vacation. Lisa and Oleg wrote their applications. They had already earned enough money and were now going to fly to the sea as a family for the first time. I used to go there only with my parents, Lisa told him on the plane. Well, now we're going together, he told her. But she could see that he was in no mood again. Lately, Lisa had been doing nothing but trying to keep her family calm. Oleg was constantly displeased, he grumbled, but the girl swallowed everything. She tolerated that they didn't have loud arguments. Yes, they were working and tired. Sometimes they needed distractions. And so today, they flew to their parents' house. Oh my God, my Lisa, shouted her mother as she opened the door. They hugged and stood in the hallway for a long time. Mom, come on, said her daughter. God, how long I haven't seen you, the woman cried. It's okay, the woman reassured her. What are you planning to do now? The mother understood that they would not stay here long. We bought the vouchers with Oleg, and in 3 days we are going to the sea, answered her daughter. Oh, how glad I am for you. Even if you are far away, and even if I do not see you for such a long time, but everything is good. Mom did not know how they live now. The couple didn't stay together long at the sea, the first 2 days, and then Oleg got fed up with everything, and he started grumbling as usual. Lisa thought it was the first and last time she was going on vacation with him. For the last few days, husband and wife vacationed separately, and then it was time to return home. So the vacation has come to an end, Lisa told her mother when they have already arrived. Yes, it's a pity. We did not see each other much. The woman hugged the girl. The family returned to work. By now the girl was not happy about anything. She did not want to go home from work because her husband was always disgruntled. More and more often she spent time at Inga's or other acquaintances. Oleg was so grumpy, and lately he started fighting it all. Their quarrels were louder and louder. They could yell at each other. One day, Oleg even took a swing at Lisa. What are you doing? She looked at him with frightened eyes. Nothing, he said grudgingly. By then, they had already lived for 10 years in the north. "Where have you been?" Oleg asked her. "At Inga's," his wife told him. She had nowhere else to go but to her friend. "Yeah, I know you're Inga." He did not believe her. He could see that he was jealous of her, but he wouldn't admit it. And it was worth it just to talk, to figure it out. Now every year they went on vacation like this. Only his wife would spend time at her parents' or go on vacation alone, and her husband, like a buka, would lock himself at home, sit alone, play video games, or watch TV. "Lisa, how are you doing?" her mother asked her. She knew from her daughter's calls what was going on in the family, and she was very worried. "There is no family anymore," Lisa said. She remembered how she loved Oleg, how she missed him, how she waited. Now there was nothing of that inside at all. With his admonitions, precepts, and everything else, he had simply discouraged her from loving or doing anything else. 15 long years had passed since they had lived in that far-away, cold land. For Lisa, every day was like Groundhog Day. She woke up in the morning, washed her face, got dressed, went to work, came home in the evening, automatically made dinner, lay down in front of the TV, watched it, went to sleep, woke up again in the morning. And it went on like that every day. This time the vacation fell in February because he and his colleagues shared alternated years. One year they took one in the summer, the other in the winter. "Where will we go in February?" As usual, Oleg was dissatisfied. "What difference does it make, wherever?" Lisa told him. She wanted to get on the plane as soon as possible and fly to her mother. In the evening, they waited for the car that was to come to take them to the airport. They loaded up. The husband and wife did not speak and got into the car. They had to drive for hours along a deserted highway. "Oh, it's still cold." Lisa was shivering in the car. "Yes, today the wind is blowing right through the windows," said the driver. As they drove off, Lisa saw that a blizzard was sweeping across the ground. She always dreaded this road a little bit, because, first of all, it was far away, secondly, it was cold, thirdly, it was night, well, and fourthly, and most importantly, there were no settlements, no houses, nothing along the road. Just one bare highway. No one realized what had happened, but at one point the car skidded, and they started spinning down the road. It was very scary. Lisa was screaming, and eventually, after flipping over twice, they stopped. Oleg was the first to wake up. He looked at the car lying in a deep snowdrift. Lisa was unconscious, in a strange position. The driver had hit his head on the steering wheel, and now, he too was unconscious. My God, the man realized that if nothing was done now, they would just freeze here. He took the phone out of his pocket. He knew for a fact that there was no communication here. But no one canceled the 112 emergency service. He could not get out of the car because he knew he would fall through a snowdrift. So he opened the window and tried to get out on the roof, but he could not. It was snowing heavily, and it was cold. When he got through to the rescuers, he couldn't explain where they were. He told them roughly how many hours he had driven, what had happened. All that was left to do was wait. "Mum," he heard the driver moan. "Are you all right?" He touched him by the shoulder. "My head hurts," the man said. He looked at Oleg. "Well, friend, we have to do something to keep warm," he told him. The car would not start. There was no hope for the heater. Then they began to get everything they could find to burn and keep warm here. When Oleg climbed out of the window, it stuck out only halfway. The man did not yet understand what had happened to him. And now, when he wanted to do something, he felt his legs really hurt. When Oleg lowered his eyes down, he saw that one leg was unnaturally curved and the other was swollen and very sore. What else did they do while they waited for help? The two wheels that were sticking out of the snow and could be unscrewed, they burned them as well as the spare. Lisa was unconscious the whole time. Finally, flashing lights appeared in the distance. When the rescuers arrived, the men were wearing everything in their bags, prepared for their vacation. "We barely found you," they said after a while, when time had passed. Oleg looked at the phone. He had called the rescuers at 2 in the morning, and they had not arrived until 8 in the morning. He himself could not believe that they had lasted so long outside in winter. At the nearest hospital, where they were taken, Oleg was told that he had fractured one leg in 2 places, and that the other leg was indeed dislocated, but dislocated. "What about my wife?" he asked. The man saw that Lisa was immediately taken somewhere. "Without an X-ray, I can't say anything, but it seems to me that her spine is broken, and it's serious," the doctor told him. "So what is going to happen now?" Oleg was sitting in the corridor on the couch. He was waiting his turn. "I do not know. The doctors will do everything they can, but you have to be patient. It's care, it's doctors and everything else," the doctor told him. Oleg understood all this himself, and now he was blaming his wife again. She was the one who wanted to go on a winter vacation. They put a cast on his legs, and he had to stay in the hospital for a while. The man agreed because he didn't want to leave without Lisa. She did not regain consciousness until the end of the second day. When Lisa opened her eyes, she did not know where she was. "How is my wife?" Oleg asked the doctor every 2 hours. "Came to herself." At last, he told him. "Can I go to her?" the man asked. Of course, the doctor brought him a chair. At first Oleg didn't want to get in it and wanted to walk on crutches, but then he thought it would be easier, and he rode it to his wife's room. "Tai." He drove in there. "Oleg, what's wrong with me?" Lisa lay there and did not move, because she could not do it. "Do not move, dear. You have a damaged spine. Now every movement can bring you harm," he told her. How could it be? Tears came out of her eyes. "Don't cry. We'll try to do something." He stroked her head. Day after day went by. The leg that had been dislocated healed quickly. "You can go home," the doctor told him after 2 weeks Oleg spent in the hospital. "I can't leave Lisa here," he told him. "She needs to stay here for a while, and then we can transport her to another clinic," the doctor said. Oleg decided to do things his own way. He went to the place where they had recently lived and worked and told the owner of the apartment that they would no longer be renting it. Then he packed up his things and sent them to the regional center of the area where Lisa and her parents lived. He dialed his mother-in-law's number. "Oleg, what happened? Why have you been gone so long?" she told him. "We had an accident. Lisa is now in a serious condition in the hospital," he told her, and that he had arranged for them to be treated in the region. "As soon as you are there, call me right away. I will come," she told him. "Okay, by all means," he promised her. Now it was necessary to pay for the sanitary flight that would take Elizabeth to the exact hospital where she could be helped. Oleg didn't spare any money for anything. He paid for the hospital, rented a place to stay, slept in the apartment himself, and spent the rest of his time in the hospital. Often he was not allowed into the room. There were some operations, but he still sat in the corridor. Now, for some reason, the man began to think that he was to blame for the accident. Lisa was discharged. She could sit, but the damage to her spine was never repaired, so the girl could not walk. Now all the responsibilities fell on her husband's shoulders. He had to work, come home in the evening, take care of his wife. For a year, 2, 3, he endured, but then his patience wore thin. "Oleg, where are you going?" Lisa told him. She saw that he was leaving again. By this point, the girl could move to the chair herself, because she was tired of waiting for her husband to come and move her there. And there was no strength to lie down all the time. She could get to the kitchen, to cook something. "What are you doing sitting there?" Her husband would come home drunk. "Why are you acting like this?" Lisa didn't understand him. She was very dependent on him. Now she had no walks, nothing, because if she could do something by herself, she could not go out without help. "Leave me alone," her husband only waved her off. "Hire me a nurse, leave me alone." Lisa cried and begged him for it. Yeah, what else can I do for you? Oleg had been very nervous lately. He started drinking. He could do it just at home, to himself, and then lay on the floor. Lisa was in a hopeless position. Daughter, let me take you home, her mother suggested. How can you not understand that I am here at the clinic, which every time makes me some new procedures? Lisa knew that she both cannot, and so cannot. And she also realized that if she went to her parents now, she would doom her mother, she would take care of her for the rest of her life, and she didn't really want that. Life in the apartment was like a nightmare. Her husband was constantly away, and there was little she could do on her own. Once again, her mother came to visit. How are you? She came up to her daughter, kissed her on the cheek. Why do you ask? Don't you know yourself? Lisa called her every time on the phone and told her what was going on in their family. What can I do for you? The woman's hands were dropping. Please call the hospital. Tell them that we're going to them, told her daughter. And so the mother did. They went there. Lisa was put in for another examination. You don't have to lie down, the doctor told her. Try to do something. Lift your legs with your hands and stretch them. Maybe try to stand near the machines. But how? I can't, Lisa told him. How do you know if you've never tried? He spoke to her a little rudely. Why haven't you tried it? I have, she told him. Before, when they had just gotten out of the hospital, Oleg had helped her. She used to stand around the special trainer and even make an attempt to move her legs. Then, when it all started, Lisa gave up. She let her mother go home, realizing that she had her own things to do, and she was left here alone with the doctors. Doctor, tell me the truth. If I start practicing now, do I have any chance of getting back on my feet? She looked him in the eye. You know, miracles happen, he answered her vaguely. Lisa realized that she has no chance. Oleg, can you come for me? She called him when they told her she was being discharged from the hospital. She heard him sigh heavily. I'll be there in 2 hours, he promised her and hung up. Again, she was in their rented apartment. And again, he wasn't paying attention to her. Please don't go, she begged him. But her husband wouldn't listen to her. He had his own things on his mind. He would go away and come back. Lisa knew that if he could get rid of her now, he would. She was in her room at night, looking at her husband asleep when he came in, thinking that they no longer had any family, but there was nothing she could do about it. What are you looking at me? Oleg opened his eyes. Tell me, why is everything like this? His wife asked him. How like this? He sat down on the couch, his head hurt a lot. Why don't you leave me? Hire me a nurse. I will pay her myself. Lisa told him. How can I leave you? What will people say about me? That while everything was normal, I lived with her. But as soon as the accident happened, immediately abandoned, he said to the girl. So what? It happens, you know, you fall out of love, or it's hard for you, why not? She tried to talk to him normally. What do you know? The man was freaking out. He would go into the kitchen, rattling the dishes there, then returned with a glass of beer. Oleg, enough, Lisa told him. She understood that because of her condition, both he and she rolled into the abyss. What do you offer me? He shouted at her. Take me to the town where you and I went to school. I know there is a very good rehabilitation center there. They will help me, and I will be closer to home, she told him. Stay here. Nothing will happen to you, he said cheekily, and went into another room. Lisa cried. Yes, she could have called her mother again to come over. But she did not want to upset the woman and tell her that her husband was doing this to her. So the girl endured everything. One day, she called the clinic herself and asked about a caregiver. She was told that social services could send a free girl or woman to visit her. She would not be in the apartment all the time, but she could help. Thank you very much. Lisa thanked them and hung up. A few days later, the doorbell rang. When Lisa opened the door, she saw that a young girl had come. "Hello, my name is Anya. I will help you," she said in a friendly manner. "And I'm Lisa. Thank you for coming." She let her in the apartment. From that moment on, the girl came in the morning. Not only did she take care of Lisa, but she also gave her massages and read her books. In general, somehow they were engaged, entertained. "Oh, we have guests." Oleg came home early one day. "Hello, I'm Anya. I help your wife." She smiled at him with an expressive smile. "And I'm Oleg. A pleasure." He liked the girl. Lisa could not see it. She only heard their dialogue, because now she was lying in the room on the bed. Lisa tried to move into the chair herself. She heard some noise from the room, and the girl went back there. "Oh, what are you doing?" She helped her to sit down. "Thank you, Anna," said Elizabeth to her. Together, they went into the kitchen to cook something. "Soon it will be time for me to go," she told her. "Well, I'll finish it myself," she agreed. Together, they peeled the potatoes, put the fried meat on, and then the girl went to the door. "And what are you already leaving?" Oleg asked her. "You know, I come here for 3 hours, we do all the treatments, and then I leave," she told Oleg. "That's why I've never seen you," he guessed. From that moment on, every day, the man started coming home early to find Anya there. One day, she was washing dishes in the kitchen, and Oleg went in there. "How are you?" he asked her. "Fine." She turned her head. "What are you doing?" You could hear him flirting with the girl. "Can't you see I'm doing the dishes?" she told him. "May I help you?" Strange as it may seem, but he offered to help her. Lisa was in her room at that moment. She heard it all. It was very unpleasant. But the most important thing now was how Anya would react to all this. "Why help? Take it and wash it yourself," she told the man. You could hear in her voice that she was also talking to him for a reason. Lisa was disgusted to hear all this, but there was nothing to do. She understood that they no longer had any family, though she had told her mother about it long ago. But she herself hoped for something more, because Oleg lived with her, did not leave her, did not leave her. Now it began quite differently. Every day, Anya came in the morning. She would, as usual, massage Lisa, put her under the covers, and after that she would read a book for a while. And when the front door slammed, Anya just took Elizabeth's wheelchair, wheeled it out into the hallway, closed the door behind her, and went out to see Oleg. "Hello," she said to him. "Hello, Queen. How are you?" He kissed her. That's what Lisa heard, too. After that, they went into the room and closed the door behind them. The wife lay in bed, tears flowing from her eyes, but she couldn't help herself. In the evening, "Wait, I'll pick you up." She heard voices from the corridor. "Okay, bye, Oleg. I'll be waiting." Anya slammed the door. After that, no one came into Lisa's room until morning. Her husband left in the evening. It is unknown what time he came. "Phew, what have you done here?" Lisa came in the morning. "Anya, why are you doing this to me? Take me away, please, to the city to which I ask you," she said to the girl. "You deal with your husband. It has nothing to do with me." She would turn her over, put her on the chair, and she would change the bed. It was also necessary to take the woman to the shower, but Anya did not do that. The most she could do was wipe her with tissues. "Lisa, hello, how are you?" Her mother called her. "I'm fine," she answered her. "Are you sure I shouldn't come?" The woman was worried about her. "Mom, come on. I have a nurse. I have a husband. Why come?" she told her. "Okay, look, if you feel bad, be sure to call, and I will come right away." The mother seemed to sense something. Every day the same thing was repeated. "Oleg, come on, let's take her where she wants to go. Let her live in her rehabilitation center." Anya asked the man. "Do you need it?" he asked her. "Look, you don't feed her, you don't wash her, you don't do anything. When was the last time she was outside?" Anna told him, and looked at Lisa squeamishly. What do you care about her? She sits and sits. Her husband did not even look at her now. And you do not want to divorce her? The girl asked him. And what will it change? He did not understand. I don't know. You'll be free. We can make a couple. Anya told him. All this time, Lisa sat in her room by the window. She didn't want to interfere with their conversations or anything else. If she called someone and told them, it would embarrass herself to the whole town. But on the other hand, no one here knows her, so why not do it? Lisa had been thinking a lot lately. She began to get up and stand near the windowsill. The woman asked for the bed to be pushed up so that the wishbone was opposite. Then Lisa put a chair between the windowsill and the bed shackle, grabbed it with her hands, and tried to get up. At first she could not do anything, but after a while she was able to do something. Lisa understood that all her strength depended on her hands. Now that her husband and Anya were out of the house, Lisa could do more than before. Not 6 months later, Anya had moved into the same apartment where Oleg and Lisa lived. I'm divorcing you, Oleg told her. It's about time. Please take me away from here, she asked him. When the time comes, I will take away, he told her. Now Lisa was constantly sitting in her room. No one remembered her. Oleg made something like a bolt, and when he and Anya needed it, they would just lock the woman in there. Open up, please, open up. She couldn't even go out to the bathroom. What are you yelling about? A man would come in and irritatedly tell her. Why do you need me? Why do you make fun of me? She couldn't understand it, and he was still ashamed. I don't understand. What are you ashamed of? Anya came up to him one day. They stood in the hallway and talked. Well, the neighbors saw that my wife is disabled. The doctors know, and now, where am I going to take her? He wrinkled his forehead. Let her go to her mother, Anna suggested him. And what they will do there? Oleg could not understand what everyone was picking on him. Oh, you. Lisa came up to him once and looked him in the eye. You are ashamed to give me up. And what you are doing now, you are not ashamed. Look at me. What have I turned into? When was the last time you fed me? When you washed me? When you did something else? I haven't been outside in a year. How dare you yell at me? I've done everything in my life for you. I earned the money. You've been hanging on my neck all your life, even in the north. When you came before, you couldn't do anything yourself. If it wasn't for me, you would have died in that car. He stood there, boasting about something incomprehensible. I'd rather have died in that car than live like this with you. She shouted at him. Oh, that's right. Oleg began angrily throwing things on the floor. So, exhaled Lisa. She did not have enough anger and her powerlessness. Put it on, he said to Anya. And where are you going? She stood and listened to the scandal, but did not participate in it. I said put something on her, he shouted very angrily. After that he took her outside with the stroller, put her in the car and put the stroller in the trunk. He rushed out of the car. Where are you taking me? She shouted from the back seat. You'll find out. I haven't been on the street for a year. Now you'll be on the street. He took everything from her, her phone, money, documents, everything she had. Oleg, you wouldn't dare do that, cried Lisa. I do not dare. Yes, how dare I dare? I am fed up with you. You have ruined my whole life, he said with anger. He drove so fast that it seemed to Lisa that they were about to crash into something or turn over. Oleg brought her to the very city where she wanted to go, where she had once studied and lived for a couple of years. What did you want here? Angrily, he told her. Oleg, she looked at him and could not believe that this man, whom she had once loved, was now stopped in the middle of the street. First the man pulled out the wheelchair, then picked her up, put her in a wheelchair. You can live wherever you want, cripple. I don't need you anymore. He told her, pushed the wheelchair away, got in the car, and drove off. Lisa tried to stop the wheels from going, but she didn't have the strength, and at that moment, a car was coming toward her. The girl clutched her eyes. But the car managed to stop just a few centimeters from the girl in time. The driver ran out of it. "Have you had enough to live for?" He shouted at her, grabbed the handles of the stroller, and pulled her a little to the side. "Thank you," Lisa told him, and she lowered her head and continued to cry. She understood that no one in this world needed her, perhaps only her mother. But now she had one task: to get to the rehabilitation center. She might not have papers, but maybe they would help her there. At that moment, the car that had just nearly run her over moved off, and then stopped again. Lisa. She heard her name, but thought maybe it was someone else, or maybe she just imagined it. Lisa. The name was said more clearly. She realized that it was really her. She turned her head and saw Sergei through the open window of the car. "Hi," she said. "What are you doing here? What happened to you?" He ran out of the car and approached her. As you can see, she threw up her hands. "Let's go. You can tell everything." He asked the driver to help him. He took Lisa himself, and the driver put the stroller away. "Thank you," she told him as he put her in the car. "To the restaurant," Sergei ordered. The car started and they drove off. While they were sitting at the table, she began to tell Sergei her story, how they had left for the north, how they had had an accident, and what her husband had done to her. "God, what you went through." The man closed his eyes. "Well, and how are you doing?" she asked him. "I'm not doing well. I worked in our city, then I was transferred to the region, and from the region I was sent here. And now I run the city here," he answered her. "So you're the mayor?" She rounded her eyes. "Yes," he told her calmly. "Wow, what about you and Marina?" Lisa wondered. "There is no Marina for the last 5 years." He tilted his head to the side. "And what happened? You used to have such a good relationship." Didn't understand Lisa. "In fact, nothing good was there," said Sergei quietly. "How is it? Why everything in our lives didn't work out so well?" She sighed. "I think that everything is for the best, and that's why we had to walk such a thorny path to meet each other now." He took her by the hands. "What do you mean by that?" She didn't understand. "Do you remember when you asked me why I left your father and went away without telling anyone?" He asked her. "Of course I remember," she smiled. How could she forget? "Well, when I met you at the train station and gave you my earrings, I really knew that I liked you and cared for you very much. I didn't want to rush things so as not to scare you or your parents, but I dreamed of being together with you. When you left, Pasha and I were at the store, and he told me that while I was at a session in early September, at that time he drove you to school. Then he came over, you went out together, and now you were dating." As he spoke, Lisa's eyes got bigger and bigger. How could he even say that? It wasn't true. "Yes, he brought me to and from school, and he even came to visit me once, but it was all just for fun, as a friend. I never liked Pasha. He was a very good friend, but no more. But you..." She stopped talking. "Lisa, I saw it and understood it. You were also dear and close to me. But I could not help believing the words of my friend. And he said it so confidently that there was no doubt. I decided not to disturb anyone and just step aside. At that moment, the order was brought." Lisa looked at the food and swallowed her saliva. She hadn't been eating the same way lately, so now she would swallow an elephant. So then what happened? She wanted to know the rest of the story. "Nothing. I just went to my parents, and then I met Marina. Somehow everything spun and spun. I asked her to marry me, and now we're getting married. I sent an invitation to your family. Of course, I expected you to come. I thought that Igor would come with his wife. And when I saw you at the party, I became very sad." Sergei took his fork and began to pick at his plate with it. "God, Sergei, how did it all happen?" Lisa understood that two people who loved each other just lived for so many years and both resented each other. Now she was ready to make things right, but she couldn't. Sergei, and as mayor of this city, Can you restore my documents? She asked him. And what happened to them? He did not understand. My husband freaked out. He took everything, brought me here, and just left me for dead, she said. Of course, my dear, I'll do anything for you. After that, they drove to the very rehabilitation center, where Lisa, of course, was accepted, settled her, and now she began her course. Sergey came every day to visit her. He made her documents, which she allegedly lost. The man believed that everything would be okay. Let's go for a walk. He would sit her in a chair, and they would go outside. Hello, Sergey Viktorovich. The doctor who was taking care of Lisa approached them. Good afternoon. The man walked slowly down the path and pushed the wheelchair in front of him. You know, I want to tell you that Lizaveta is doing well. She is a good girl. If she'd have started exercising earlier, it would have been quicker, he praised the woman. I hear it's going well, he leaned over her ear. I'm glad. Lisa knew she was making progress. She could already stand up straight at the machine. Maybe you want something? Sergey asked her. Yes, she nodded her head. So, what is it? He was ready to break his neck, but to do for her what she asked. Please call my mother and tell her to come, was her only request so far. Is that all? He laughed. Yes, for now. She didn't want to be too difficult for him. On the phone, call yourself, or she might not understand me. Tell her what kind of a man. He handed her the phone. Thank you. Lisa immediately dialed the number that she knew by heart. Hello, she heard in the receiver, and tears came to her eyes. She understood how much trouble she was causing her relatives. Mommy, hi, she told her. Lisa, what number is this? The woman immediately became concerned. You can come over, and then I'll tell you everything, she asked her daughter. Of course, the mother was about to hang up, but Lisa stopped her. Wait, you don't know where I am yet, she said and stopped talking, and then dictated the address. The woman was not too surprised because it could have been her husband who sent her to rehab. That's it. Now we are waiting for my mother. I think she will be very surprised to see me here, smiled Sergey. Yes, I think so too, Lisa agreed. Mom arrived in the evening. Sergey and Lisa met her. Sergey? She was very surprised. Aren't you glad to see me? He hugged the woman. It's not that. It was obvious that the woman was speechless. So, as long as Lisa is in the rehabilitation center, you can stay at my place. He handed her the keys to the apartment and dropped the address on her phone. Thank you. She was still in shock. I do not have much time. We will drive you there, and then I will leave. Lisa knew that her problems distract the local mayor from his main business. Of course, I'll do everything, his mother assured him. They came to the hospital, where the woman was allowed to study with her daughter. She helped, supported, saw how quickly Lisa was exhausted, pitied her. Afterward, they sat outside. It was good. Tell me about it. Somehow her mother waited until the evening to hear from her own lips. Oh, mother. Her daughter began to tell her all over again, from the moment she hired a nurse. When I saw Sergey, I thought there was something wrong with my head, laughed the woman. And me, he called me, and I think I just hear it because I want to, smiled Lisa. Now there was some warmth inside, Sergey next to her, whom she had not seen for so many years, her mother, who supported her in everything. In the evening, Lisa went with her mother to Sergey's apartment. They went to the store, bought everything to prepare a festive dinner. Now they were managing the apartment. Here I am. It smells so good, said the man when he returned to the apartment. We made dinner. Lisa came out to him. He didn't expect to see her here. They let you go all night? Leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. Yes, the doctor said that I can sleep anywhere, laughed Lisa. A few months ago, the girl felt old and broken, but now she felt the energy inside her again. I talked to my bosses today, asked for a vacation. They promised to give it to me in a month or two. The man said this already at the table. That's wonderful, said the woman, who still couldn't sit down, all the while fussing. You and I will go to the clinic in the capital. I have a friend there. He promised me to put you on your feet, Sergei said quietly. And why are you whispering? Lisa asked him quietly. So as not to scare her, he laughed. They sat at the table for a long time, talking, remembering what happened then, many years ago. Does anybody know how Pasha lives now? The man asked and looked at Lisa's mother. No, I haven't heard anything about him, she said honestly. It would have been interesting to me. Sergei shook his head. Yes, everyone was young, happy, how fast time goes, sighed the woman. She stayed to clear the table, and Sergei and Lisa went into the room. Would you agree to marry me? He asked her. Sergei stood looking out the window. Why would you want me like this? She remembered how she lived with her husband, and she shuddered. I love you. I used to love you. And now, when I met you, I realized that this feeling did not go anywhere. He turned to her and knelt in front of the stroller. Okay, let's just agree. Hypothetically, I'll marry you. But there's one condition. She looked at him. Tell me. He waited. You and I will go to Moscow if I will have an operation there, and I will be able to move around. Though not immediately, I promise to train. Then we go to submit an application. If they say it can't be done, I'll pack my things and go to my mother. Lisa lowered her eyes. Okay, but I believe that everything will be okay. He hugged her. And now they had their very first kiss, not a child's, on the cheek, but a real one. Sergei, she put her arms around his shoulders and looked into his eyes. Lisa, he put his head on her shoulder. Thank you for everything, she whispered in his ear. I love you, he whispered back. Rehab was over. Yes, Lisa was not on her feet, but she could already do much more. Now, when she got tired of sitting by the bed or the wall, she could get to her feet and stand for a few minutes. As the man promised, he took Lisa to Moscow, where she was immediately admitted to a clinic. A good specialist worked here. His parents used to be neighbors of Sergei's family. The guys had been friends since childhood, and now they had not lost touch. He agreed to help, but he did not promise anything. After the surgery, it was hard. Lisa was again like a little child who had to be taught to walk. Sergei, why you need all this? She asked him. Because I love you, and I want to help you. He encouraged her as she walked on the machine. I know how hard it is. Lisa was already tired, but she didn't give up. She did what the doctor said. And a month later, she was already walking with a walker down the hospital corridors. Look at you. How good you are, a man told her. It's all thanks to you, she answered him. It's not about me, it's about you. He came up to her and kissed her. If it wasn't for your support and love, I would have no one to do it for. And I wouldn't have tried so hard, she confessed. Well, Sergei, congratulations. Your bride will go to the registry office on her own feet, said Elizabeth's doctor, his doctor and friend. Thank you. They shook hands. You're welcome. It's her willpower and tenacity, winked the doctor to Lisa. Yes, I know. He hugged his beloved. Well, I wish you happiness. The doctor turned around. See you at the wedding, said Sergei after him. Sure, send me an invitation. He disappeared around the corner. Are you coming home? Sergei asked. Yes, Lisa was still in a wheelchair, but she could walk without it. They flew to the city run by Sergei and decided to settle down here. Lisa's mother and father came to see them as soon as they heard they were there. Liska. Dad hugged his daughter. If her mother had seen her even occasionally, the man hadn't seen her in years. Daddy. She got up from her chair and walked up the wall toward him. Wow, he looked at her. Daughter, Mom cried. After that, they sat at the table for a while. Mother brought various things with her. She cooked here. Sergei went somewhere for a while. Well, where is he? It's time to sit down at the table. Mother was in a whiny mood today. Here I am, Did you miss me? Sergei, on the contrary, was cheerful. He had been in a good mood lately. Yes, come in. His mother showed him to the chair. Everybody else was already at the table. Sorry for being late. I didn't think you would wait for me. He sat down next to Lisa. Enjoy your meal, Egor said. I would like to raise a glass to your daughter. Sergei poured champagne into the glasses. Thank you. Mom had tears in her eyes again. Do you mind if Lisa becomes my wife? He took out a box and handed it to her. It's exactly the same, she said. What? Sergei turned to her. Remember those earrings? She asked him. Yes, he nodded. She took it, opened it, and put the ring on it. And why didn't I marry you then? They would have lived as a family by now, and maybe this wouldn't have happened. The father looked at the baby carriage. Okay, let's not talk about the past anymore. Nothing good happened there, Sergei asked. Okay. Everyone agreed with him. They sat at the table and talked about where and how the wedding would take place. Lisa's mother was so happy for her daughter, especially now that she was out of her wheelchair. Mommy, thank you for everything. Her daughter hugged her before they left. That's it, we're off, but don't think you'll get away from us that easily, the parents smiled. Finally, we're alone. Sergei hugged his wife-to-be. You're the best man. I knew that when I was still 15 years old. She kissed him and said those words. I couldn't even dream of such a meeting. He took her in his arms and carried her to the bedroom. Everything was going very well. The dress was bought, the guests were invited, the venue was set. The bride and groom were happy. Can you make it? Sergei asked Lisa. Of course, she wasn't sure, but she tried hard. If anything, tell me, I'll pick you up right away. He was worried about her. Naturally, she looked to her feet. Everything was done. Really, during the registration, the bride asked for a chair. Everyone understood why it happened, so no one paid any attention. Congratulations, wishes for happiness, tears, kisses, everything was at this wedding. Sergei and Lisa came home. Now they were in a completely different status. Darling, I want to talk to you. A month after the wedding, husband and wife sat in the kitchen and had breakfast. Sure, ask whatever you want. He looked at her with loving eyes. Let's take a child from the orphanage. She'd been thinking about it for a long time, back when she lived with Oleg, but she did not dare to ask. Don't you think it's too late for us to think about it? He was looking serious now. No, she was sure of herself. Well, I can't today, but we can go tomorrow, he agreed with her. Lisa, if she could, would have jumped for joy. She walked over to her beloved husband and kissed him. Have a good day, she said as he left for work. I'll be there soon. Don't miss me. He closed the door behind him. Lisa stayed behind to do chores. She was getting ready for tomorrow. Right now, it was unclear who she would like. Honestly, she wanted an infant so she could start raising him from the beginning. But today, it was too early to guess. Good morning. Sergei was the first to wake up. Hi. Lisa opened her eyes. Today I'm free until lunch, so get ready. We'll go to the place we talked about yesterday. Always kept his promises, the man. You're the best man on earth. She got up quickly, went to the bathroom, washed, dressed, and was ready to go out. Let's at least have some coffee. The husband saw how eager his wife was to hurry away. All right, she hurriedly boiled it. And then they were in the institution, where there were children of different ages. Lisa was shown some pictures, and she looked out the window. All the children were walking in the grounds, and only one boy was standing a little away. She went down to the street and approached him. Mom? He looked up at her. Hi. Yes, I'm your mother. My name is Lisa. She hugged the child. Where have you been so long? He asked her and cried. I was sick, and then I was treated, and now I have come to get you. She kissed the boy. Are we going home now? Maxim asked. Yes. She looked at Sergei. The boy had been living with them until the papers were drawn up, and then he officially became their son. Now it was a full, real family, where everybody loved each other. Thank you for listening to the end. Write in the comments if you liked the story. I would be grateful for a subscription to my channel. Also see my other videos. Have a nice day.